Taanis, Perek Aleph, Mishnah Beis. Ein shoalim es hagshomim elo somach ligshomim. Explains the Bartanura. Hainu ein mazkirim es hagshomim. Although it said shoalim here, sounds like requesting. It's actually taken in a more general sense, and this word means one doesn't mention rain, which means mashiv haruach, elo somach ligshomim, near to the time of rainfall. Continues the Bartanura, Dahainu yoim ches shel chag. This is the 8th day of Sukkot, Shmini Atzeres. Dimin hachag va'elech, because from then on, zman geshomimhu. This is a time for the rain. Ustoma k'Rabbi Yeshua. We now have a Mishnah without mentioning a name, but this is according to the view of Rabbi Yeshua that we saw in the first Mishnah. Continues the Mishnah. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees slightly with Rabbi Yeshua. And he says, Ha'oive lifnei ha'teva biyom tov achron shel chag. Someone who passed in front of the Oren Kodesh, this means the Baal Tefillah, on the last day of Chag, Shmini Atzeres, Ha'achron mazkir, the second Baal Tefillah, and what they used to do is split the Baalei Tefillah between Shacharis and Musaf. So the second Baal Tefillah, the one davening Musaf, he would mention Mashiv Haruach, Horishoin Eina Mazkir. However, the person davening Shacharis, would not mention Mashiv Haruach Murinag Goshem. Whereas, according to Rabbi Yeshua in the previous Mishnah, the last day of Sukkot Shmini Atzeres, one would mention Mashiv Haruach. According to Rabbi Yeshua, it would be throughout that day. Whereas Rabbi Yehuda says that this is limited only from the time of Musaf. That's when the Chazan would first mention Mashiv Haruach Murinag Goshem. And the Yerushalmi explains that according to Rabbi Yehuda, it wasn't mentioned in Ma'ariv because not everybody attended the shul and for Ma'ariv, and therefore not everybody would know that they're now starting to mention Mashiv Haruach. It wasn't mentioned in Shachris because one couldn't announce prior to the Amidah that we were now starting Mashiv Haruach Murinag Goshem, because one cannot be mafsik, one cannot interrupt between Goal Yisrael and the Amidah, and therefore the first opportunity would be Musaf, where this could be announced for everyone to mention Mashiv Haruach Murinag Goshem. Continues the Mishnah, B'yom tov Rishon shel Pesach. Similarly, on the first day of Pesach, Horishon Mazkir, the first Baal Tefillah, davening Shacharis, would still mention Mashiv Haruach, Ha'achron Einu Mazkir. It would be the second, it would be Musaf, where there would be the changeover to no longer mentioning Mashiv Haruach. The Mishnah continues, Ad Emosai Shoanim Esagshomim, picking up on Pesach time. Until when can one request, mention Mashiv Haruach? Here we find Rabbi Yehuda again. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Ad Sheyavo HaPesach. Until the whole of Pesach is passed, then one would stop mentioning Mashiv Haruach Murinag Goshem, requesting also for rain. This seems to disagree with the view of Rabbi Yehuda we mentioned earlier, who said that the changeover point is on the first day of Pesach, and it would be at Musaf. Explains the Bartanura that in fact there are trei tanoi aliba de Rabbi Yehuda. This Mishnah reflects two later tanoim in their view of what Rabbi Yehuda actually said. One Tana was of the opinion that Rabbi Yehuda's view was that the changeover is actually on the first day of Pesach at Musaf. A second view, a second Tana held that Rabbi Yehuda's view was that the changeover took place after Pesach. The Mishnah continues with an additional view. Rabbi Meir Omer, Ad sheyetze Nisan. One can continue mentioning rain until the whole of the month of Nisan has passed. Shene'emar, there's a posuk in the Tre'osa Yoel where it mentions Vayored lochem geshem. He brought down for them rain, Moireh umalkosh, the former rain and the latter rain, and this was all Barishan, this was all in the first month of the year, this was all in Nisan. So we see that rainfall can still come, may be good, even during the month of Nisan. Tosis Yontov mentions that the other Tanoim, who say that we don't continue throughout the whole of Nisan mentioning rain, although we find this posuk here in Yoel mentioning that rain came in that month of Nisan, and they say that in the time of Yoel that's mentioned there in the Psukim, this was a particular occasion where there had been a drought, and under those circumstances, yes, there was rain, and it was a bracha for them that there was rain in the month, throughout the month of Nisan. But normally, one would not be mispala, one would not mention rain throughout the whole month like this view. That concludes the Mishnah.